Okay, so welcome to my study. As you can see, I've cleaned everything up. I took everything into the kitchen, into the sink, into a plastic tub. Give it all a good soapy wash. Don't worry about getting water in these. I'm going to oven bake them shortly to make sure they're all dry before I put new seals, etc, etc. in. Now, the thing to note, your pistons. You will find quite often on the outer sort of top edge where it's normally sticking out of the seals against the pads, you'll get a little bit of corrosion. You see that? Just a little. That's not a big issue, no need to bin the piston, but rust does swell, so just a little bit. I used 1200 wet and dry, just to very gently, after I've cleaned them, rub it down, plenty of water, use a little soap as well just to lubricate it, and you're not looking to sand them out, you won't. You're just looking to get them smooth so they don't catch on anything. Okay, obviously if you've got this kind of rust down here, halfway down the piston, time to change the piston, because that would then be constantly going past your seal. It's going to damage your seal at worst. Best case scenario, it's still going to soak with fluid and the fluid's still going to get round your seal. It's not good. So if it's kind of halfway down the piston, this corrosion, bin the piston, get new pistons. They're not usually that expensive for a pack. That one's pretty good. Okay, one tip guys, very important tip, if you have just spent a while cleaning all these up in the kitchen sink, clean the kitchen sink, because wives are very angry creatures when they come back and find brake fluid, gunk and oil in the sink. Yeah. So I don't know how well you can see, you've got two sets of seals. You've got your outer, this is basically, you can pull it out with your finger. This is your dust ring. It's a really thin one. It's your dust ring seal. It basically stops the grub of the road crap and everything getting in. You probably already know this, but I'm just going to say it anyway. So they're really easy to remove. Now this one is a pain in the bum. So, quick trick. Only costs a few quid on Amazon. Not expensive. I bought myself a 6-piece basic dental kit. So you can tell it's cheap. It's supposed to be a dental kit. And inside this you get all sorts of goodies that are very handy for doing bikes. And this little bugger right here is excellent, because all you do is you take it, get it behind that seal, and I should just be able to, with a little bit of effort, it takes a couple of times usually, there we go, that seal is now out. Okay, do it with the other one. Come on, it's just catching them right is the key. Oh, this one's going to be a pig just because I said it was nice and easy. There we go. And there's the next inner seal out. Now I'm going to keep it that way, face down for that one just now, just so I check. I'm pretty sure Suzuki are sensible, and the seal goes in either which way. I remember years ago on my K1200 RS that they used to, the Brembo seals used to be tapered. So they went in a certain way, and actually BMW and Brembo got together and said, nope, that's not working. So they changed the seal. So they changed the part number and brought out a new seal that was square cut, because people were putting them in backwards, sometimes even workshops, and wondering why within a few miles their brakes were leaking. Now one more thing I will show you, which is part of the cleaning process. So let's shift these across. You'll note, just in case you're wondering, everything is very tidily placed. I keep all the parts for one caliper together. Yes, that will fit that one, and those will go in that one, but they've all worn together on one caliper. So habit for me, call me overly fussy, I think they've worn together, stay together. Bad boys for life. Right. The inner seal now, on which one would it have been? Oh, it was actually this one. So on this one, this is the one that the inner seal popped out on, and now I'm going to show you why. So this is just a wee tool with a pick on it, and I'm just going to very gently scrape in there, and I don't know if you can see, there's a whole pile of gunk and corrosion, white flakes of goo coming out of here. You get a load of corrosion, it's minging, behind the seal, all that dirt and crud. See these little, you see little white flakes and such like in here. It's all flaky and horrible. Basically that's dirt and dried brake fluid and everything, corrosion that gets in there. and that's what has pushed that seal out. That grubbins is solidified back there. It's taken up the space behind the seal, it's pushed the seal out, and basically when the pistons have pushed out, they've caught the seal and carried it out. So generally if you're blowing a piston seal, there's a reason. So make sure you clean and check for that reason. Don't just stick them back together and go, nah, it's fine. That's the reason, in my case, that this has come out. It's just all this white gunk. So get it all cleaned out, get it all shiny before you get round to the stage of putting seals back in. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to get all this dried and cleaned out in here. These are all clean and fine, and I'll cut off these. You don't need to see that. I just put a Stanley through the back of that and pop it out. My plan then, again, that you don't need to see, is to bake these in the oven once they're fully cleaned, so that any moisture, water, etc. comes out of them. So what I'll do is I'll do all that, I'll come back to you with it pretty much laid out the same, and we'll crack on from there. Okay, so that's them all cleaned. They're currently in my Rayburn baking dry. Yes, I have a Rayburn, how posh. This is my seal kit. All balls. Some of you are giggling. I've used their stuff before, never had a problem with it, always been pretty good stuff. So let's look at what you get in an all balls, childish, stop it, seal kit for a DL1000 Vstrom. So you get a sticker, awesome, that'll go somewhere. You get a piece of card that tells you they've got you covered with all the parts you need to handle any abuse you dish out, blah 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 blah. So they're just telling you we're awesome, here's all the stuff you need. So what do we got? Well, we have here a bit of the rubber grease, universal rubber grease for the rubbers. We'll have the two rubber gaiters for one side of these bad boys. We should have 4 of these little things. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sesame Street, sorry. That's my outer dust seals, dirt seals, call them what you will. Then we have, this is the brake nipple cap. Yep, that's right, it's all going on here. Balls and nipples. 2 of them, 2 brake nipple caps. You really do get everything. Here's your 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 inner seals, so the 4 main seals for the caliper, so 4 of them. This is the ones that I've just cut off, cleaned out before putting into the oven, that push through the main housing, so I've got 2 of them. Amazingly, and I did not expect this, I am very impressed. I kept my pins because 9 times out of 10 you don't get pins in a brake kit. This is only 35 quid, something like that. So I'm quite impressed. So I've got 2 new pins. All balls, I am impressed. And of course, 2 new bleed nipples. Said nipples again. And the split pins. 1, 2 for the pins here. And of course, 4 crush washers for putting the banjo bolts back on. So I'd have to say, I did know, I mean obviously I was getting all the seals naturally, and I did think, you know, they always give you the brake nipples and the covers for them and the rubbers. They're all kind of a standard in most kits. But a lot of kits don't actually give you a brand new set of pins and split pins. They just assume you will reuse the ones you have. So all balls, top marks to you for that. That's pretty impressive. So there you go. That is what will be getting put back together very shortly. Quite impressed. Okay, we're back. Calipers are all dry. I don't know if you can see that, but that is so much cleaner. All the gunk is out of here. All gone, all clean. Now, I'm going to put the rubber back in. I've got a bit of rubber grease on my finger. La, 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 la. It is special rubber grease. Don't use any other grease because it will degrade the rubber. I'm just going to coat that in rubber grease. And I'm going to put a little bit, oh come on the leading edge as well. Because the theory is, what I want to do is pop that through there. It will take a bit of fiddling. it's not going to be just a ta-da, it's done. These things are designed to go through and sit snug. So what I'm going to do is a pinch and twist now. See if I can get it part of the way through before I shove it the rest of the way through. Push a bit of grease in that end, just to help. I'm just coating the inside of the other end so that the bit that's coming up against has got grease on it. Like I say, don't force it. It'll go. There you go. Pop. That little pop, said by me, is completely essential, obviously. And then just clean the excess grease off. And there we have it. I'm back with brake fluid and gloved hands, because that stuff isn't very nice. There's the seal. Now I have looked, they are standard universal, square edge both sides, not a problem, seals. So what we need to do is just get a little bit of brake fluid on the old fingeroony and just gently coat the seal before you, it'll help put the seal in, but more importantly what it will do is help lubricate that seal when you slide that piston back in. I'm going to dry this hand because I'm going to cover my entire caliper. Now this is the fiddly bit you might not be able to see because I am fiddling about, but basically all I'm trying to do is pop that seal into the inner groove without twisting it, bending it, breaking it and all that jazz. It's in the outer groove at the minute. Get in there. Come on, stop being silly. And there we go. What we've got is one seal nice and neatly fitted back into a cleaned groove. Okay, that's really all there is to putting the seals back in. It's literally lube them with a bit of brake fluid, gently pop them back in, just check they're seated with your finger, make sure they're not sitting out or twisted, or you want that nicely tidily seated. I'm going to do the same with the next back one, and then I'm going to do exactly the same with the front ones. Is just lube them up and pop them into the little front thing. Okay, so that's all the seals in. A couple of interesting points. One you might not have noticed. Let me just move this. Look. Leon Haslam and his signature. Ron Haslam and his signature. John McGuinness. Yeah, that's under my protective mat. I work with the best. It's not the light isn't best, but we've now got 2 outer, 2 inner seals back in. So what I'm going to do now is just very lightly coat the piston in brake fluid, like so. Okay, so here we go. Piston, hole with new seals. Gently line it up. Right, I'm applying a little pressure and I'm twisting, you notice? I'm spinning it. I'm spinning it because I don't want to snag that seal. Now, it's quite tight is the problem. So what I'm going to do, if it'll fit, will it fit? This is the question. You going to fit? Ah, you beauty. Is I'm going to put my caliper tool on, because I don't want to put this in without giving it rotational twists. And the reason for that, folks, is quite simple. I'm sure you're aware that you don't want to snag the seal. All working fine. So we'll just undo the caliper tool now, which is all covered in brake fluid. My tools are going to need a very good clean. And out it pops. So there we've got one piston gently inserted back in past the seal. I could have pushed them all the way in with this, but what I want to do is just put my fingers on it and just gently, yeah, smooth. It's like in, you'll get a feel for things. If you're pushing it in with a tool, you don't feel it so much, but if you're pushing it in by hand, you'll feel if it's catching, you'll feel if it's scraping, and you'll have a better idea of whether you've done it right or not. Not a hard job, is it? Obviously, I'll put a new bleed nipple in here, new copper bolts, new copper washers when I put the banjo bolt back in. That's it. That's how easy it is to reseal a caliper. These things, like I say, cost peanuts. caliper tools, caliper extraction tools, cost peanuts, and if you've got a pot that has an open end, they're brilliant. And there endeth the lesson, folks. I'm not going to show you putting them back on. I will do that myself. It's an easy job. On, new brake fluid, clean out obviously the reservoir, new fluid in it, and we're done. Thanks for watching, and like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you on a more interesting video that isn't just about stripping brakes. Take it easy.